So it's time to transition then.
Okay.
We've talked about the rookies.
Mm-hmm.
Now and listen, we're going to be talking Lions until the season starts. There's no doubt about that. But there are other sports in Detroit that Beyond the Box will be talking about as well. Specifically the Tigers, if they continue to have the limited amount of success that they are having right now. But for right now, it's all Lions because they're the best team in Detroit. Who would have ever thought we'd have said that?
Crazy.
Crazy.
Insanity.
And there's one man responsible for that, and that's Brad Holmes, to be very frank. Regardless of any criticism you want to give him for the way that this draft went down, he has taken this team, as I said last night, and it's been a lot like raising the Titanic from the ocean floor, to steal a metaphor from an article that I read,
Yep.
which is true. For 2023 in the Detroit Lions, with what they have added, and I just read a tweet that said that they have now, with their draft picks and all of that, about $19 million still in cap space. Okay, which is not insignificant.
Mm-mm.
Doesn't mean that they'll necessarily spend it either.
Mm-hmm.
But where they drafted and the slot values that they drafted at, they'll have roughly about $19 million left. For this team heading into 2023, the expectations have never been higher. What are those expectations? And why is it the NFC Championship game? I'm just kidding.
You're not far off, because I'll be totally honest with you, man. If the Lions, again, we're expecting winning as the expectation, but it's not just winning. It's not just wild card. It's not being second in the division and sneaking in the back off of another 9-8, 10-6 record. That's not enough. I'm expecting the division to be the floor of what they do. Like, I'm expecting domination of the division. I'm expecting them to be one of those dark horse teams out the NFC. I'm not going to pin on NFC Championship yet, but as of right now, you're 100% right. The expectations for this team have not been as high as I've ever experienced. Back to the Caldwell days, back to with Stafford and Megatron, or when they had, the team with Sue and, Stephen Tulloch, like Glover Quinn. Like, this is even higher than that, I believe, at this point, because not only are they expected to win this year, it's for the next few years coming. That's what you've set yourself up for. So
I have a bone to pick
with me.
Because I said the division was kind of the floor a few weeks ago, and you go, oh, what if they sneak into the playoffs?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that, right?
I changed my mind. I'm backtracking. I'm flipping it. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Hey, we talked about growth on the live. Here's some more growth.
Thank you.
AJ was right, guys.
There we go. That's what I was looking for. Thank you very much.
AJ was right.
Give me my flowers when I deserve them. Now, the division is theirs for the taking. And it had, listen, the way that their schedule sets up, and the way that Brad Holmes went about this draft, we said it last night on the live. He made a very clear statement. Our time is now. Our time is right this second to win. And there's a reason for that. The NFC is not great.
No.
You have a great opportunity to take advantage of a very weak NFC.
Mm-hmm.
This is the time. So when we talk about expectations for this team, there's nothing wrong with being a fan and putting your expectations higher than they've ever been. Now, I will caution you, because unmet expectations are the place that disappointment grows the most.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to place expectations on them and hold them accountable. And there's a reason why we can't hold them accountable, because of this draft that they just had. They did not draft with the depth chart. They did not necessarily draft for what everybody considered to be positional need. They drafted to win now. Mm-hmm. And so if they don't win, then it's a failure.
Totally agree.
And if they do not win division, I would say it's a failure. Yeah, sneaking into the playoffs would be great. But if you do not host a playoff game within the next 2 years,
failure,
then you have failed.
For sure.
And if you do not have a playoff win, your first playoff win in over 30 years, in the next 2 years, then you have failed.
Yep.
And I'm going to take it even a step farther. If you do not at least make the Super Bowl within the next 2 to 3 years, it has been a failure. Because if you have signaled to this fan base that you are ready to win now based on the way that you drafted over this last weekend, and you do not deliver on that expectation, then you have by definition failed.
Whew, man, you're not wrong though, man. I agree with a whole lot of what you're saying. Again, I'm not 100% on board with the whole path that they took for this draft. Again, there were some things I wish they would have did, but I'm okay with them picking the guys that they like. Even with the route that they took, this is still a path to what you said. Super Bowl, playoff wins, winning your division. Minimum. Like those have to be the steps from the reverse order. It can't just be, like you said, if they had a crap draft and they maybe get 2 guys that I liked, then sneaking into the division, sneaking into a wild card is maybe acceptable. But at this point, with what they've done, again, I told you before the draft that their rebuild is over. They're trying to make win now moves. Time to win these games right
that's
now.
That's what they signaled.
That's what they've said. That's what they've signaled. So now has to be the point where they start making it happen. Yeah, it's big wins or nothing at this point.
Yeah, and anything less than that is going to be a failure. And you no longer have the excuse of injury. You no longer have the excuse of injury. You no longer have the excuse of positional need or holes on the roster or inexperience.
Out the window.
The time's now. And the window is 2 to 3 years max.
Yep.
Because that's about the length of all of the contracts that you will have coming due. From Penei Sewell to Aiden Hutchinson to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jared Goff's going to be up in 2 years. It's 2 to 3 years. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what happens after those 3 years and how they try to sustain their success.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have not really built in a way that can sustain it.
Facts.
So, either deliver or be ready to admit that you failed.
Because that's what it is. Sitting in that NFL purgatory is not. We're right there.
No
we're
more.
Close. Just next year, a couple pieces. No. It has to be right now. You're playing the NFC South, which is garbage. Your division is garbage at this point. This has to be the stepping stone where they do things we haven't seen them do. Sadly, I can't believe we see them win a division title in how long. That has to change starting this season. It has to.
And it should be exciting. Listen, I don't want to be like, you have to, like, and be negative, right? Because this is a positive thing. Mm-hmm. In my lifetime, I can't remember going into a Lions season going, we're the favorites.
Mm-hmm.
We're the favorites in the division. We're the 4th best odds to win the NFC. I can't remember a time because there hasn't been a time. So now is the time.
Real quick, which rookie do you think has this? We'll make this fast. Which rookie do you think has the most pressure in order to help them get to that point?
Jahmyr Gibbs, because of where he was drafted.
Yep. I was hoping that was supposed to be quick. I wasn't going to say nobody else. It has to be him. Like I'm not worried about Campbell's transition. Laporta's a hybrid tight end, like where it's a luxury position. It's Gibbs. It's 100% on Gibbs.
It's 100% Gibbs because of the scrutiny around that pick.
Yep.
Because that was the moment that Brad Holmes said, we're winning now.
Brad Holmes said, I do what I want. That's what he said.
I mean, he did. He basically said, F your mocks and F your positional value. Because this was my guy. And so he put his eggs in that basket.
He did the table slap. Hard for Gibbs.
He did. Yes, he did.
He elbowed Campbell in the nuts for this pick. He went crazy.
He warned us at his pre-draft press conference and said, listen, if he's a good player and we take him, nobody's going to care where he was drafted. Well, it ends up that guy was drafted at 12. Mm-hmm. So he better be the Todd Gurley that you compared him to in your pre-draft conference.
That's what we're waiting for. Exactly. Alvin Kamara's nothing to sneeze at. That's a big-time player. If he don't look like that, I'm going to have some problems, bro.
Yeah, but right now, we're excited about it.
Yes. Smile.
Okay. Yeah,
good job, Brad Holmes. We love you, Brad Holmes. Yes.
Right now, it's okay. Right now, it's good. And we expect, listen, I think Jameer is going to be an impact player. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to have his stamp very clearly on this team. But we want to know what you think. What are your expectations for these rookies in 2023? What are your expectations for the Detroit Lions in 2023? And why is it the NFC Championship game? No, I'm just kidding. But at the end of the day, that is where we're going. Listen, we've said we've got at least 3 guys, potentially 4, that are going to make impacts day one. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch. Hendon Hooker is a wash. He needs to just get healthy, and he needs to learn. And the Lions, they need to win. Mm-hmm. That's the end of the story. That's the end of the script. Period. The end. Win football games. Yes. That's all that matters going into 2023. And we will be here for all of it. He is Eric. I am AJ. This is your favorite Detroit sports show, Beyond the Box. We will be back live with you Thursday night. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you've subscribed to our YouTube channel. Smash that bell for notifications so that we can continue to build the best Detroit sports community there is on the internet. We'll see you live Thursday at 9 o'clock.
Peace out.